Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. The other day I took these Premna that were in training pots and rooted down into the lower soil. Cut them way back, and then I also showed you 4 different bonsai pots. So I've now decided to put 4 of these trees into bonsai pots. And the pots are all a little bit different. This one is longer and shallower than the rest, so I'm going to use a bigger tree in this one. This one is perfectly round, so I'm going to attempt to find a tree that will make a bunjin in here, because bunjin trees are typically grown in round pots. You don't have to have bunjin in a round pot. And then these two are both scalloped, very similar, so they'll have little smaller trees. So when it comes to the trees, I've studied them already, and I've got a couple of different choices. I've got this one here. That could make a very interesting tree to go into here. And then this one here too. So you know what, I'm going to take both of them out of the tray. I can always just put them back and they'll regrow. And these containers are designed to hold liquid when you buy them, so you have to poke holes in the containers. So the only place the roots can move out into the ambient soil is through those holes that you've poked. Ah, see, look at that, healthy roots coming out of the pot. So this could make an interesting tree. Need to take off some of the lower stuff. This branch here has gotten a little too big, and that's one of the risks you take of growing them where you're just randomly chopping them back. Sometimes you may get something like that. Even though this branch here kind of comes out, but then it comes this way, I think this would make a good first main branch. Remove this, have the second main branch here, and then work the apex up here. So, oh man, it's I'm sorry that. So that's one choice. And then just I'll do it off camera here. Take this other guy out of here. And the ones I don't pick, I'll just put back. And you know, even though I cut the roots away. Now this one is actually in a cup, a drink cup, like a 12-ounce drink cup, a paper cup. And this tree has some interesting form. And I think I like this one. First branch, second branch, they both need to be wired a little bit out. And then the apex. So this is the one I'm going to use. So I'm now going to take it out of the pot entirely. And look at that, just almost perfect right into the other pot. Going to remove these lower limbs because they will not be part of the design. And we have a back branch. And the apex, typically in bonsai you want your apex to be coming towards you. So the apex is moving away. What we can do is we can have it move away and then come back towards. So then I'm going to do just very slight, and I'm going to put it back in the tray. I'm such a saver. Take some of the soil off of here. Oh, and it's got nice nabari. It does have one circling root right there. So he comes off. Nope, there's 2. And this is going to be the front right here. So I'm going to take this root that was like out like that, and I'm going to bring it forward like that. And then get the tray out of the way again. And I have my window mesh. This is just window screen that I use for my smaller trees. When I go into larger trees, then I use the larger mesh. And cut this root here. And it's got a very nice little nabari starting. And since we want our first May branches at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and they're a little bit tight, but I can wire them out. And then the next stage is just filling it with bonsai soil. And this is a very fine mix. And if you can see, there's little green dots. That's a little bit of fertilizer just mixed in. So since I'm right-handed, come over here. Just fill it with bonsai soil. And it's typically the case, I don't make a mound right now, because the tree will make its own mound as the roots grow. And so there we go. Let's get all the distractions out of the way. There's number one. The potential for a very nice little tree. And if nothing more, this branch here especially is just coming way too far forward. So a little bit of wire. I'll probably wire both of them. In fact, I guess I can do that. I'll do it off camera because I didn't really expect to wire anything. Because usually with small trees like this, wiring, I mean, you need to sometimes, but we'll do that off camera. The wiring is complete, and there is tree number one. And I think it's going to grow into real nice proportions with this pot. It needs to obviously get wider and taller, but it will. So that's number one. For the second guy, I've decided to use this tree here, the bunjin. So it's the same process, cutting it out of the lower soil, and look at how much soil came with. Put that stuff away. So this root pruning process wouldn't be any different if these were just in individual pots. I would still be pruning the roots. And some of these things, like this guy here, we're never going to use it again. It's just beat up too much. Okay, so this guy's going to be a bunjin. Bunjin has no lower limbs. So we're going to take this guy. Let me get rid of this tray again. It's just too confusing. Going to take this guy off. Going to take this little branch here off. And I think I'm also going to take this one off. This one's a little too heavy. We have bar branches right here. So I'm going to keep this one, then this bar branch comes off here. Because you want your branches to be alternate. So that looks pretty good. And remember, this is just the very beginnings of these trees. So off camera, I'm going to remove some more of the soil. And I've discovered a few more circling roots, which need to go. Still has pretty decent nabari. And the beauty of a round pot is you never have to worry about where the front is. Because you can always just twist the pot around a little bit. So put them in there. I like to fill my pots with bonsai soil in the container so that any of that falls away just falls right back into the container. So There's just no good way to do this. Still learning how to make videos. But the other day, oh, and this is another milestone. The other day I hit 200 subscribers, so thank you so much. And this is actually my 150th video. So another milestone. So there we go, a future bunjin. That would make an interesting front right there. Bunjin typically has no branches on the lower 2/3, and all the branches are confined to the top third. So there's number 2. The next pot I'm going to use is this little bit taller scalloped one, and I'm going to put this guy in there. So he is in a smaller drink cup, which has disintegrated. There are many, many different types of plastic, and some of them have better UV tolerance and some don't. And some of them just get beat up just by conditions. So, much smaller root ball, but he's going to fit right in there. And I'm going to, it was like this, which is this, now let me get rid of this again. It was growing like this, and this sweep is just too weird. And I've got some lower limbs that I'm not going to need. However, if I put it like that, then I have a really nice little curvature, slanting style tree. This will be the first main branch, which really needs to develop, but that's sometimes part of the process. I'll just let this one elongate and get much thicker before I cut it back again. So it's the same procedure as the other guys. Try to get rid of some of the circling roots. And grab our soil and our window screen into the bottom of the pot. Fill the pot with a little bit of soil. And like I said, I'm going to plant this guy about like, oops, we have another root here. See that root sticking out right there? It's keeping it from getting into the position that I want. And this is a pretty drastic root pruning on this guy, but once again, Premna root very easily from cuttings, and they also are tropical trees. And since this is, actually coming on the end of July, how time flies. Okay, get rid of that. And another very nice little tree. And when I say very nice little tree, I'm looking at the potential for this tree. There's always a future. So I'm looking at, and part of bonsai, growing bonsai, is understanding how your trees grow, where the new growth is going to emerge, and how to trim them away to get the style that you want. But I think once this main branch gets out into here, and we have a nice little canopy, this curvature, which really looked very ugly when this part was straight up and down, now is really a nice little tree. So there's number 3. Last but not least, I've chosen this guy to go into here. So we're going to take him, prune the roots out of the ambient soil. The pot is pretty much destroyed. We have a pretty decent root system. And I'm going to get rid of that. And then this is going to be my first main branch. Second main branch. So I'm going to take some of this off here. Allow this guy to go. And then the apex I'm also going to shorten everything up there. So another interesting little tree. And the potting process is the same. Doesn't seem to be any circling roots on this guy. Grab my soil. And I'm sorry you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just basically filling it with a little bit of soil. Then we're going to put the guy. And I've got some roots here that you see are sticking out, so I'm going to cut those away. And any kind of root pruning process is the most stressful thing you can do to a tree. So that's where you need to know your material. Tropicals in the heat of the summer. Temperate trees like junipers and elms, and even something like an ilex shillings, which grows quite well in zone 10 where I live here. I still consider it a temperate tree. No root pruning on those guys, unless it's the dead of winter. There we go, I guess. Here we go. So now let's put them all together and I'll take a picture. There you have it, 4 new mame Premna. And I think they all have very interesting shape, and I'm going to enjoy styling these guys into finished trees. So I'm going to turn off the camera, take a picture, but then I want to show you a couple of other things. So here's a couple of other trees that I pulled out of the tray thinking they might go into the larger pot. And this one I decided to really whack right there. So I've got a first main branch, second main branch. The apex is very thin. There was a lot of growth coming out of here. So this is going to be a taller tree. And then this one here, I also had thought about. This would be the first main branch, but it comes forward and then out. And this is also very thin, so I would be removing this completely. So when you're looking at trees, there's always some compromise. Now what I'm going to do with these guys is I'm just going to put them right back into the soil. This one here I've obviously trimmed way up, and I think I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. And I'm just going to do that right now. So I still want this to be the first main branch, but this one is just way too heavy, so it comes off. And then if this is the second main branch, I'm going to take this front one off too. I do have a back branch that can be a sacrifice branch. So there's, once again, you know, it's not perfect. But now I'm not just going to go chop, 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 chop with this. I'm going to continue to develop the tree the way I want it. So I just wanted to show you that. So even though these aren't going into bonsai pots, I've still trimmed them up quite a bit. And then they will continue in training. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you subscribe, you can continue to watch these guys develop. Hit the notification bell. And I'm real happy with the 4 I put into bonsai pots. Both of these could conceivably go into pots right now too. But especially like this one, I really want to develop the top much more. It's going to develop more quickly if it goes back into the tray. So there you go. Mame Premna. And then in a period of time I do have some 4 or 5 mame Premna that are much further along. Well, some of them at least. And I will show you those in a new video. So that's it for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.